Welcome to Dr. Jester Rants, and I'm gonna rant about this. Well. From Associated Press. Nevada bill would allow tech companies to create governments. You can guess from where this bill comes from. Exactly. You don't even need to read the screen, which I'm not even sure it's if my... No. My camera is not blocking it. It's from the Democrats. How did you guess without actually looking at the screen? Well, who knew that the Democrats would align with certain private sectors and bring fascism? Yes, fascism is a socialism with a slight veneer of capitalism. Yes, that's exactly what Italy implemented back in those days. They took the government actually ruled and things like that, but it had the backing of companies. The companies themselves aligned with the government and created a perfect system called fascism. And perfect, I mean, in their own eyes, because it was an absolute atrocious idea. Mostly because, as you know, the government would then force certain companies to do their bidding. For instance, it's a good example. If 5 companies are making deodorants, the government will see, hey, this is useless, this is a waste of resources and time, so we are going to make you to do the deodorant, and 4 other companies will then do something else entirely. They'll have to do, rehiring, retooling, and retraining of personnel to do, tires, fabrics, back in the day, let's see what else, glasses, and, and other unrelated or related stuff, or cleaning products, for instance. They'll all make those companies retool themselves and do that. And here we have, I never thought I'd say this, but the Democrats are definitely the party of projection. No, wait, I actually did see myself doing that. But I never thought it would be the Democrats themselves doing it. I thought it was a distant dystopia or something like that. A nightmarish dystopia, but I never thought I'll see it in my lifetime. And coming from the Democrats themselves, I know they are notoriously known as the party of projection. They are the party who projects their own failings onto the Republicans, for instance. Russia collusion? Well, we have China and Ukraine collusion on the Democrats. A Russian spy we had with the Chinese spying the Democrats, multiple Chinese spies, including Hunter Biden, and, that Swalwell, the Senator Swalwell, I think, or Congressman Swalwell, or something like that. It's all projections with these people. For instance, when they call for violence, it's all projections. They all project their own failings onto others, so people don't focus on their own on the Democrats' failings. After all, it's their MO. Their slogan, rules for thee but not for me, and their modus operandi, is projection. Anyway, let's read the news. Planned legislation to establish new business areas in Nevada would allow technology companies to effectively form separate local governments. Democratic Governor Steve Sisolak announced a plan to launch the so-called innovation zones in Nevada to jumpstart the state's economy by attracting technology firms, Las Vegas Review-Journal reported Wednesday. The zones would permit companies with large areas of land to form governments carrying the same authority as counties, including the ability to impose taxes, form school districts and courts, and provide government services. Well done. The dystopia is right here. Cyberpunk. Oh no, it'll be a documentary of the future. The measure to further economic development with the alternative form of local government has not yet been introduced in the legislature. Sisolak pitched the concept in his State of the State address, delivered on January 19th. The plan would bring in a new business at the forefront of groundbreaking technologies without the use of tax abatements and other publicly funded incentive packages that previously helped Nevada attract companies like Tesla Inc. or Incorporated. Well, anyway. Sisolak named Blockchains LLC as a company that had committed to developing a smart city in an area east of Reno after the legislation has passed. Jesus Christ. The draft proposal said the traditional local government model is inadequate alone to provide the resources to make Nevada a leader in attracting and retaining businesses and fostering economic development in emerging technologies and industries. So this is how fascism starts, just so you know. The Governor's Office of Economic Development would oversee applications for the zones, which would be limited to companies working in specific business areas, including blockchain, autonomous technology, the Internet of Things, robotics, artificial intelligence, wireless, biometrics, and renewable resource technology. Zone requirements would include applicants owning at least 78 square miles of undeveloped, uninhabited land within a single county, but separate from any city or tax increment area. Companies would have at least $250 million and plans to invest an additional $1 billion in their zones over 10 years. That's it. The zones would initially operate with the oversight of their location counties, but would eventually take over county duties and become independent governmental bodies. The zones would have 3-member supervisor boards with the same powers as county commissioners. The businesses would maintain significant control over the board membership. The Governor's Economic Development Office did not respond to questions about the zones Wednesday. Well, interesting, isn't it? This is how fascism stalls and is created. Who thought that the Democrats would do that? Hey, I did, actually. Especially after the Washington, D.C., which is kind of looking like an occupied zone or something like that, with fences up the wazoo, 30,000 military personnel. Well, now it's a little bit less, but still a lot of military personnel, just for a couple of dozen people who became violent inside the Capitol, and a couple of hundreds then stormed the Capitol itself. I'm amazed that they had, at the speed that these people managed to destroy democracy and destroy freedom in America. I never thought I would see this in America. Actually, never. I was more likely to see this in the UK, Sweden, or New Zealand, considering how crazy people are going down there. But I never saw this in America. Probably in Canada, but never America. But even more so, this is disturbing to actually think about it, because imagine without the oversight of the government itself, it's already bad in which people are getting the platform because they are critical of something that certain company doesn't like, or that certain company is afraid of the cancel culture, or the boycott, or the violence, and then they would pull down an unperson, a certain individual, or something like that, or they would cancel the contract of a certain individual. Imagine when they hold the county itself. They'll take your property, they'll take everything you own and expel you and let the nearby county or state deal with you. Imagine that. This is absolutely disturbing. But Democrats, am I right? Who knew? Oh, anyway, On that note, my monitor is still on the way, still hasn't arrived, and it won't arrive for the next couple of days, so I'm doing the very bare minimum. The weather is still kind of hot, but at least it's not wife-beater hot, so I'm wearing this. Anyway, with that being said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell button if you want a notification when I upload shit. Or stay right here on youtube.com/Dr. Jester if you want current level of content. If you want spicy content, well, when I get my monitor back, head to minds.com/Dr. Jester. I found myself having to censor my thoughts at least 2 to 3 times in this video because I couldn't say things that would eventually trigger the algorithms of YouTube and censor me. I had to censor myself for that because of that. Wonderful, isn't it? Just imagine the fascism that these companies would implement in that Democrat bill, right? And my hair looks atrocious. There's a permanent rebellion around here that I cannot quash. Hey, I should probably contact a Democrat. They probably know a thing or two about quashing rebellions. Anyway, good night.